Yeah. Lately in life, I guess I had bad luck. I guess it's karma, always smoke to solve my problems. I'm numb, feel it regardless. I've been trying to paint my picture so the world can have a better view. I know I'm misunderstood.
So J6.
Yes, sir.
It's good, man.
Chilling, bro.
So before we get into, the project, thematically, I want to get into it musically a little bit. How involved are you in the process when it comes to, making a track or making an album? How involved are you musically as far as production and...
Well, this is my first album, you know what I mean? So, when I make projects, I'm all hands-on, man. I'm always sitting in the studio. I'm always thinking of ideas. I'm always creating, whether it be just me mumbling something on a beat or even just the beat selection process. It's just, I'm always locked in, man. And with this specific project, I just knew that this was the direction I had to go in as far as with the car crash and everything, you know what I mean? Every time I've made a project, I usually make music and it just comes together, you know what I mean? And then I decide where it's gonna go from there. This was the first time I sat down and was like, this has to be this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
So I was gonna say, did you have the idea that you wanted to build a project first, or did that accident happen? And
it's so funny, man. I was working on a different project when the whole accident happened.
Yeah.
I made a project called Playing with Fire. It's one of my first real mixtapes. It came out in 2016. I was making a Playing with Fire 2. So I was in the space where I was just trying to be as creative as possible, listening to a lot of old school beats, you know what I mean? It was a lot slower pace. And then I got into that car accident. And literally that night in the hospital, I was like, I'm scrapping the project. You know what I mean? This isn't right.
Yeah.
This happened for a reason. I got to talk about this. You know what I mean?
And speaking from experience, it's a very traumatic, experience
scary,
to go through. Yeah,
very
for
scary.
sure. So, and going back to past projects, I almost sense a shift in personality and mood between Far From Grace and this project on Impact.
Yeah, you know it's crazy, man. I was unintentionally listening to both of them back to back the other day, and I thought the same thing, man. It's you could tell.
Yeah.
You could tell the maturity and just you can just tell that I went through some shit. You know what I mean? It's different. Far From Grace, I made that project, and I was moving so fast, man, when I was making that project. I was just in every studio, not sleeping, at every event, I don't want to say not taking care of myself because, I was still doing my thing, but I was
You're moving fast.
Super fast and not really paying attention to the people I had around me, to the things I was doing, and to the choices I was making.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So when you listen to On Impact, it's more of a grounded project.
Yeah.
And through this whole process and everything I went through, because the accident happened 2 months after I put out Far From Grace. You know what I mean? I put out Far From Grace in September, and the accident happened mid-November, November 25th. So it just instantly made me reevaluate what I was doing, the people I was around, and I knew I needed to change. And like I said, when I was in the hospital, I knew I needed to make this album and talk about it, but I didn't even know what was to come. You know what I mean? I was still just going through the motions, but I just knew that this has to be talked about.
Yeah, because you do sound much more solidified, and not only as an artist, but in your personality and who you are as a person through because you talk about yourself and your experiences a lot, and just your perspective. Like I said, I noticed a shift in perspective a lot. You know what I mean? It's much more grounded. It seems much more solidified in who you are and confident, for sure.
100%, man. I did a lot of soul searching making the project too. You know what I mean? Just being honest with myself. I wanted to be a lot more honest in my music as well too. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because I always was honest, but it's just I was, not to say I was afraid to be personal, because there's personal songs that I have on Far From Grace and on other projects too, but it's just this is the first time I really just let my guard down and let it out in the music fully.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Because
the whole album.
you definitely go into detail, whether it be tracks like Totaled, where you go into full detail about the accident, and which is an excellent story.
Thank you,
I
man.
gotta
I
say,
appreciate that.
I love storytelling tracks.
Yeah.
And from start to finish, you get the imagery of everything that went on that night. You know, I think I gotta give you kudos on that, because that
Thank you,
was a
man.
great story. Or when it comes to tracks like Different, you know, where you do get more personal when it comes to, you know, the romantic aspect and, you know, love aspect and stuff like that.
100%.
Which brings me to I wanna kind of hear how that track came around. You got two great features on that, Tab and Lil Tab and Supreme Kai. How did that track come around?
I was in the studio with Supreme Kai and Producer Public. We were in Root Deep, and I knew I wanted to make something honest, because I was going through the motions. You know what I mean? I was just I was in a position in my relationship where I wasn't happy, and my partner wasn't happy, and it was just on my mind. You know what I mean? Just being in the studio, you know, being creative like I am, you know, I just felt like I needed to portray that. But you know, they were just playing beats. Public was playing beats, and then he's just like, "Yo, I have this one, but it's got Tab's voice on it." I was like, "Yo, play it." So he played the different beat, and it had Lil Tab singing the hook, but there was nothing else on the song. And he's like, "Yeah, Tab didn't want it." I was like, "Yo, he didn't want this?"
And it's almost like the stars aligned in that situation.
Immediately, me and Kai locked in and started writing it, and we did it on the spot right there. Yeah. So Tab wasn't in the studio with us, but it just came together so organically. And shout out to Lil Tab.
Totaled, you know, has a crazy mood switch, starting with the P-double intro.
Yeah, 100%. So to talk about the P-double intro,
Please.
I had that intro originally on a song called Myself that was supposed to be on the album. It's kind of the opposite version of the song I Can't. That's on my album.
Yeah.
So I didn't end up using that intro on that song because I just felt like it didn't belong on it. So I wanted to put it on the album somewhere, because when Pete did that hook for me in the studio, it was so organic, and we had a whole song on that slow beat, but it just dragged, I felt like, and I just felt like it didn't portray what I wanted it to, but just the way P sung that, because he freestyled that, you know what I mean? Like, he was just in the studio, and he's like, "Oh, like, I don't like the way that sounds." And I was like, "Yo, P, that's perfect. That's exactly how I feel right now. I need to use that, bro." So we ended up throwing it in the beginning of Totaled.
Okay. Which is a great mood shift.
Yeah.
I gotta say, starting from South Shore, and then Total comes in, and the intro just kind of like just drags you in. It really pulls you in, and then into Totaled, where which you get pulled in even more afterward.
Yeah,
you know?
and I felt like they just go hand in hand. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I felt like, how could I go wrong? And shout out to P Double for doing that. You know what I mean? 'Cause that's my brother.
Definitely. So tracks.
All right, so
Favorite. I need your favorite. And I know picking a track is like picking your favorite kid, right? And it's tough. It's tough.
so hard.
And I know, you know, speaking from an artist standpoint, you flip-flop a lot between like which one's good, which one you like the best. What's your favorite right now?
they all have their moments, man.
Definitely.
Wake Up is definitely always one of my favorite songs.
For sure.
Just because of the pocket I was in and just like the way that song makes me feel. Hurricanes is also up there.
Hurricanes is you know, a popular song among the listeners.
Yeah, people love that
the
record,
most
man.
popular
People
among the
love that
listeners,
record,
if I'm correct.
Yeah. That's how we did the remix. It's just, I've never done a remix to one of my songs.
Yeah.
So when I made Hurricanes, I made that song at like 3 a.m. just by myself, and it was just like, it was such an honest record. I just felt like the story could be continued. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I felt like it wasn't over.
And putting that into context, it's also, you know, speaking to the accident, it's almost like, you know, you go through something like that, and everything gets just like in a whirlwind, like a hurricane almost, you know, and everything's all over the place for a little bit. So I think that fit into the record really well.
Yeah, and that's what the song's about, you know, braving the storm.
Yeah.
You know, and just getting through that.
I just have to plug my personal favorite, at least right now, Back There.
Back There?
Back There is like the energy and the vibe of that record is so... I could just play that in my car full volume and just feel it, you know?
Yeah, shout out to Kashmir Brown. He produced that.
Okay.
That is a great record, man. That's a record I knew needed to be on the project. So shout out to Supreme Kai also. He's the one that actually helped me pick the order of the project.
Nice.
That's one of his favorites as well.
Nice.
But just being honest in the record, you know what I mean? And a lot of people could relate to it too, you know what I mean? Yeah. Especially like if you're, a lot of people in the culture went through that where they lost a homie, you know what I mean?
100%. And it goes back to the mood shift that I was speaking on earlier between Far From Grace and this, where you're just like, I can't go back to what I was, you know what I mean? Things change, and I love that. So, you know, and the way the intro comes in, you know, first line, South Shore on my chest, Kush all on my breath, had to count my blessings. And speaking on that, you know, you rap hard.
Yeah.
You rap hard, 100%. Very hard for where you come from. And I just want you to, you know, speak on real quick, you know, South Shore and just, you know, what Long Island in general means to you.
Man, I mean, I've grown on Long Island my whole life, you know what I mean? And a record like South Shore, like, I made that record, honestly, well, I had the concept of that record when I was in Texas, you know what I mean? Just like, because I love traveling,
South by
man.
Southwest?
Yeah, I was in South by Southwest. But I just love traveling, man. And, you know, we be going through situations and shit all the time. We always say, oh, I need a vacation, you know what I mean? And then, like, you leave home, you go away somewhere else, and you realize how much you love home, you know what I mean?
Where you're from, yeah.
So, like, I ended up getting my tattoo in Texas, and I wanted it like prior, but it just so happened to line up out there. And when I came home, I was like, yo, I want a song that just represents my home.
South Shore tattoo, you know what I mean? In Texas.
I like, not to say people don't like repping Long Island, but I just feel like it's looked down upon.
It's not the poppin' spot to be. That's what it comes down to.
Long Island is one of the most beautiful places ever.
100%.
You know what I mean? If you look past like the people and the things that go on out here, bro, like the scenery, it's beautiful. Yeah. It's just a whole vibe, man. Spend a summer out on Long Island. Yep. And really, you'll see it. You'll feel it.
And like I said, it right now it just doesn't happen to be that spot, you know. But when people like you and artists like you can put on for it, we can make it that. You know what I mean? Everyone thinks that leaving is going to change things, and it's not that. It's making the best of what you have.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly, and that's really what that song is about. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I really wanted to give people that feel of just being in Long Island. And when I hear that song, I just think of driving down the Southern State or just driving down Sunrise Highway, just windows down. You know what I mean? Yeah. Sun out. Like, that's the vibe I wanted to paint. Beautiful. And thankfully, I was able to paint that, you know what I mean? Definitely. Especially visually, too. We're supposed to drop the visual tomorrow. It's probably out by the time this interview will be out. But,
for sure.
Yeah.
Which I've seen the previews.
Yeah.
It looks great.
Thank you,
looks
man.
fantastic.
Thank you, man.
Who's been filming for you?
So Ryan Ardito actually filmed that video for me.
Okay.
Shout out to Ryan. He really brought the vision to life. Honestly, like, that's literally what played in my head when I was thinking and just making the song. I was like, yo, I just want this to be visually represented correctly, so people could feel that and see it. You know what I mean?
Because he's got the drone shots and
everything. Oh my God, everything's beautiful, man.
It's by the time that the interview comes out, everyone will have seen it and seen how great it actually looks.
Definitely a vibe.
So just, you know, to wrap things up a little bit, you know, what's next? What's next for J6?
Man, I want to make. So, all right, listen. So
go ahead, get into it. I want to hear it.
All right. So what's next for me is this, man. I'm working on.
You know, don't give us too much. Give us what you can, though. I'm gonna try to pull the most out of you, but give us what you can.
No. Let's talk about it. So I'm working on Hypnotic Aurora 2, which is a sequel to this EP I made in 2019. It's all R&B project.
Yes.
Right now it's about 10 songs.
Yes.
And it's done. Just putting the final touches on it, you know what I mean? Trying to get everything represented correctly. I'm working on that. Me and P Double are in the final stages of making Crossroads 2, which is also another sequel to a project that we have. And I'm starting to work on a new project. I can't say too much about it yet, but I want to make something that's unlike anything I've ever done.
Incredible. Yeah. So we can expect a lot of new music coming from
Yes, there's
JC.
a lot of new music on the way, man. Just a lot of dope visuals. Like, hopefully shows come back soon, man, so we can get to the people again.
Definitely.
But until then,
it's tough. It's tough on artists right now. It really is. Not being able to play live shows, even if it's not in front of a huge crowd, just getting that energy out is
man,
such a release.
My favorite thing to do is perform, and
which you're incredible at.
Thank you so much,
I gotta give you props on that,
bro.
my man.
Thank you, bro.
You know,
I really appreciate
you're
that.
great at that.
For real. I took a break from doing shows, man, for like a little while, so it kind of sucks because when this Corona happened, the last show I did was in December. So you know what I mean? So it was like I wasn't performing frequently, and it just happened so quickly. But the good thing about this time away is that when we come back, it's just going to be a lot crazier, and there's going to be so much material to be showcased. You know what I mean? So it's gonna add levels and different shit to the performance. I'm very excited, man.
Absolutely, I'm excited as well.
Hopefully sooner than later.
My man J6, thank you so much, man.
No, thank
It's
you.
been a pleasure.
Hands up, 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 hands up.